Cool.
Fingers crossed. Always fingers crossed. You never know.
Well, tech stuff. Hide that.
Excellent. I think we are live.
Oh, good.
Yay. All right. I see us there. We've got people watching. Excellent. I'm going to open this up so we can watch for questions. And oh, that is not a good idea. Never mind. I can hear myself. Okay, fantastic. We will watch your questions as we go. But hello and welcome. Let me take these off so you guys don't have the glare. I am Jenny Shee, and I'm here today with Elizabeth Stark, writing coach and writing mentor and published author. And a lot of you guys have been asking, like, how do you write better? And I just sort of made it up as I went. I don't really have any great tips for you other than just write and read what other people write and practice. And that'll get you there. But I think that there's probably some ways to get you there a little bit faster. And so I'm really excited to have Elizabeth share her insights with you today. We're just going to sort of shoot the breeze for a few minutes before, well, everybody sort of comes on. So hello, book writing world, Elizabeth. So glad to have you here. If you are here on Facebook, if you could please say hello. I want to make sure that the comments are working, because Elizabeth is going to do some Q&A later, and I want to make sure that we see your questions come through so that we can answer them. So if you don't mind just like waving or saying hello or something, that will let us know that we can see your comments. Okay, Nick, thank you so much. I so appreciate that. We're seeing them come through. Sonia, yay, hi. Excellent. Now we know that feature is working. So that's really critical. So, so tell us where you're calling in from, everyone, while you're in the comments, while we wait a few minutes to come in. I'm in Oregon, Elizabeth, where I know where you are, but you can tell everybody where you are.
Well, I'm in Northern California, and actually I'm actually at a friend's house in Berkeley having a little writing retreat.
Nice, so, nice. How's the weather? Sunny, warm?
It's beautiful. And she lives in these oak trees, so it's really gorgeous.
Oh, what a great place to write.
It's just great to get away from home and be
fantastic. Excellent. All right. Well, it looks like technology is cooperating today, which makes me so happy. So we are going to dive in. Looks like we got folks from Chicago and people can hear us, and we are all good. So we are going to get started. Here's sort of our plan today. I'm going to introduce Elizabeth, or actually, I'm going to let her introduce herself. She's going to talk a little bit about what she does and how she came to do what she does. And then she's going to share some really powerful writing tips with you today. Because like I said, I'm not the pro, but she is. And I just thought, what a fun way to help you with your business, especially in this online world where writing is a big part of what we do. So welcome, Elizabeth. We've known each other for, 6 years. We first met 6 years ago, which is so cool. And you just keep doing your thing and helping writers, and I love it. So please introduce yourself. Tell us what you're all about, how you came on this journey of writing, and what sort of lights you up when it comes to writing.
Thank you. Well, and I just want to say that, having gotten to work with you as a coach was such a pleasure and really turned our business around. So that's definitely part of my story. And I really started teaching writing almost at the same time as I committed to being a writer. I think, there's a statistic, something like we retain, 10% of what we hear and 90% of what we teach. Mm. And so I really believe in that. And actually that's going to come up again when I talk about writing and talk about bringing what you don't know to the table as a coach, whatever service you're offering. So for me, teaching has always gone hand in hand with learning how to write and to make myself a better and better writer. And it's been really exciting. And then as I decided, okay, I want to, then I was fortunate to publish a book young. My first novel, Shy Girl, was published by FSG. And then, I've taught in universities as well. But I came back to California to be closer to my family, and I started teaching privately. And I've built this community book writing world online and also in person. And again, I thought, okay, now I want to learn more about publishing. I really want to understand the industry. I sort of stumbled into it as a young author, and we're going to start building. And so now my students are publishing and having exciting successes, both in terms of internet articles and essays, and then also books, memoirs, novels. So that's been really exciting as well. And then my friend Ellen Sussman and I she moved up to Sonoma County where I live, and she's a best-selling novelist and a wonderful writing friend. And we started Sonoma County Writers Camp together. Cool. And again, an opportunity to keep like learning and growing and being in community, which I think, you teach too. It's all about really being in community. That's what offering service is, and writing, of course, is one method of communicating with people, as is teaching. So that's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. So exciting. And folks, if you have questions for Elizabeth as we go, I'll be kind of capturing them and we'll be sure to answer them. So please post those in the comments. So here, let me go grab my notes. We are going to talk about ways in general that you can write easier and faster and find your groove and connect with your audience. And Elizabeth is going to share some pro secrets, and I love these: harnessing your habitual mistakes to produce your most passionate and purposeful work. How amazing is that? We're going to talk about connecting your audience, connecting with your audience, and starting with what you don't know, right? Kind of like I'm excited for that one. I actually really need to learn that. That's cool. And then busting free of the writing roller coaster. So, sometimes you get in a groove and things work, and then you get out of that groove and it's like up and down, up and down. So how do you get out of that so that you can really move forward with your writing and creativity? And the other cool thing is, whether you're an experienced writer or somebody who's really new and sort of getting started, Elizabeth said these tips are going to help you both. Plus, some of the things helps you beyond writing, but with your business as well. So for those of you who maybe don't have aspirations to be a novelist, I put myself in that camp. I'm still always looking to write better and just grow my business better with these tips. So I'm going to let Elizabeth take it away, and I'm going to watch those questions. And so please go for it.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So, I'll start with well, first of all, let me just say that somebody said a writer is someone for whom writing is harder than it is for other people. So if any of you out there struggle, it might not be because you're not a writer. It might be because you care about writing and communicating with people. And when you care about something, you're always pushing yourself. You're always on your edge, and that can be challenging. So I want to encourage everybody, even and maybe especially those who struggle. Struggle is part of it, and part of it is about embracing the struggle and finding ways to support the struggle so that it starts to feel good. That sort of the difference between terror and excitement is maybe just your perspective.
I love it.
So the novelist Barbara Kingsolver, I heard her speak many, many years ago, but I've seen she writes about this as well. She starts every novel with a question that really matters to her, something she really wants to know, but she doesn't know. And her example was for Animal Dreams. She wanted her novel Animal Dreams. She started with, how is it that two people grow up in the same family and yet they can turn out completely differently? One will be a nuclear physicist and the other a peace activist, right? And how can that be? And so she wrote a novel and she created these sisters, and she followed their characters and their differences and their ups and downs, and it's a beautiful book. And in the process of writing the book, she discovered her answer, which was, no two people grow up in the same family, right?
That's the truth.
It's beautiful. And so, but what an act of daring and creation to start with a question that you have to know the answer to, but you don't. And then to trust that you write your way through to it. And so, okay, that's a novel, but your answer might be, how do I get more clients? Yeah. Your answer might be, how do I help someone turn their business around? How do I help someone, be in their body, right? Whatever your business is. And you probably went into your business because it engaged with your own questions, right? And so so actually, instead of being afraid, oh no, I don't know the answer to that, right? Saying, okay, this is a juicy question. Yeah. And I bet we all had the experience of when something comes up, becomes viral on the internet or gets really big or gets exciting, it's something that we've had in the back of our minds, or it's bothered us too.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Or we are scared of it, or we don't look at it. So that's the first thing, is just being really open to your real questions and being willing to address them in your work, whatever that work is.
Nice. And you got there's so much going in my brain as you're saying that. I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, okay, I see. Love it.
Yeah. I mean, and you talk about, working on your edge, right? Like putting yourself, like charging the rates that make you want to show up big and strong and all of that. And I think this is the same thing, get to your edge and then whether or not you're a writer, the page is an amazing space to use, to think. It's really different to write than it is to spin in your head, and whether you're making a list or you're just journaling, writing out your thoughts and going around and around, right? But you're not going around and around. If it's on the page, something is going to shift. So taking those questions to the page, and a really great technique is to do a dialogue. And you can do it with yourself. You can do it with, the universe or God or a higher power. You can do it with a hero, one of your life heroes, and you write, me, and whatever your thing is, I don't know what to do, and I'm so worried, and and then you write, whatever, Superman, Eleanor Roosevelt, God, whatever, and then you write the answer, and the answer that will come to you will be something you didn't know. And it's amazing, and you can't think about it. You just have to try it, and you keep going. And somebody taught me this, and they said, okay, there are a couple of rules. One is always give the person you're in dialogue with equal time to you. You can't just do a rant and then give them equal time. And also, if you're a superhero or higher power or better self or inner business person, if that person is starting to be mean and nasty, that is not. Yes. That's not who you're in dialogue with.
Oh my goodness. So I've used this exercise before, and I've taught it to my clients, but more for like personal growth and working on mindset. And that is so true. Like if you start talking with somebody who's nasty and mean, you have tapped into the wrong person. Like that is not that's your own stuff. And so I'm so glad you pointed that out. The person has to be kind and supportive and wiser than you, not a pain in the ass.
Exactly. So that's a big one. Start with your questions, go to the page. And then the next one, and this is so crucial to going and staying on the page, is radically lowering your standards. You're not, so Jodi Picoult said, you can't edit a blank page.
That's great. Yes, so true.
So be willing, and this is the best exercise I was ever given on this, which is, so Annie Lamott talks about, this is not the best exercise, but she's wonderful. Annie Lamott has a book called Bird by Bird, which is some exercises on writing in life, something like that. Bird by Bird is the title. Really wonderful, very inspirational to a lot of people. And she talks about, can I say a mildly bad word?
Yeah.
She talks about shitty first drafts.
Yes.
Write your shitty first draft. But this exercise goes a step beyond that. And it is to try to write badly. You sit down, and whatever you're afraid of, you're afraid that it's going to be stilted, awkward, cliched, boring, what everybody already knows. Try to do that. Try to write stilted, awkward, cliched, boring. Try to get onto the page what everybody else already knows. Try to, whatever you're afraid of, try to be embarrassing, try to be, bad in whatever way. Yeah.
So tell me more what happens. Okay, I'm afraid, I know one of the things I hear from a lot of clients is like, everybody already knows this already. So walk me through, somebody thinks everybody knows this already, and they're writing and trying to make it as if everybody's thinking as they read their writing, everybody knows this already. Tell me what then happens for this person as they're writing.
Okay, so two main things happen for me, and I want to say that other things might happen for anybody who tries this, because I think it'll give you back some of what you specifically need. But for me, one was, there was always much more there than I expected, much more than, beyond the fear, something else. Maybe I'm afraid of writing sort of cliche or writing awkward, badly or whatever. So, or maybe too purple. Like you can see, I'm very verbal, too much, whatever it is. So go to the page, and then it's like, yeah, there might be a line that's a cliche, but then we go back to remembering, once it's down there, I can edit it. But there's also something else there that wouldn't have gotten down there if I was waiting and not writing down the cliche. That thing that came after the cliche would never have gotten onto the page.
I love this, because I'm always telling clients, clarity comes from taking action. Clarity and confidence come from taking action. You are not going to get better at getting clients until you go out there and try to get clients and kind of suck at it. And you're not, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to mess up. But the only way to have all the learnings you need in order to build the business you want is to do it kind of crappy. And I see then, so go in there and do your worst job and go out there and get clients in your worst way. Just kind of be a disaster, because Because then the process of doing that, you have light bulb moments and you have ahas. And I can see on this, before you've done it, it's like, oh, that sounds horrible. And I can't imagine that will actually work, but it totally does. So
right. It does. And it teaches you so much. And, kind of getting, we talked about that roller coaster, but what I want to say is that roller coaster of I'm brilliant, I'm terrible, I'm brilliant, I'm terrible. A myth. It's a myth. And the voice that comments on our writing, and I think it's the voice that comments on our performance, ourself, on, that voice doesn't know anything about writing and adventure. It doesn't know anything about business or clients or anything. That voice only knows you're doing something and it scares me and I want to stop you.
Love it.
So it comes across as a sophisticated, insightful voice that's like, you're writing really badly, you're writing, but it doesn't actually know.
Yeah.
It's not even literate, and that's an amazing thing to say is like say, how well do you sing happy birthday? Like maybe you're brilliant, maybe you can't hold a tune, maybe but you're not going to go one day and be singing happy birthday in a group of people and you've always been kind of a moderate singer and suddenly you're going to do this incredible thing. Someone's going to be like, I want you to come sing in the Met. Like,
right.
And you're not going to also like be singing happy birthday and you're always like a fine singer, but and then suddenly you're like screeching and you're ruining the whole thing. Yes. It's not going to happen. You sing how you sing and like there's a gradual growth curve. You get a little better, if you practice, you get better. And that's true with writing. And I think it's true with all these areas of a talent.
That's great. I love it. One of my top favorite shows, my sister makes so much fun of me for this, but my husband and I love to watch America's Got Talent. And the reason I love to watch it is like, you can't not like smile and cry in every episode, first of all. And like, don't we need more feel goods? But the other thing is, as the acts progress and they get towards the end and you see how hard people work, like the amount of commitment they have, and you can do this on a singing show, like The Voice is the same too. We don't watch that consistently, but the commitment, the dedication that these people have to their skill, to their craft, to whatever they're trying to do, it's always such a good reminder, like, oh, right, yeah, I'm not working that hard. Like if something's not working, like, oh, that's how you get there. That's how you get incredible, is you work that hard. And so I'm not saying, and I don't think you're saying people have to, commit their lives to writing, but the point is to get really good at anything, writing included, you've just got to work your tail off.
Yes. But also remember that if you're pretty good, you're going to be pretty good every time you go to the page. And you're going to get better every time you edit. And
you don't lose your ability to string sentences together. It doesn't go anywhere.
You're in bed and are like, can I walk? Like if we could walk when we got to bed, we kind of assume, but the other kind of the things that matter to us, we think this might go away. Yeah. And it's not going to go away.
Love it.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay. So you're lowering your standards. You're right. Try writing badly. Try going towards what you're afraid of, right? That's really the key there. And then the final tip that I think is so helpful. I picked up from an organizing book. It's Julia Cameron's Organizing from the Inside Out. It's kind of a classic at this point. It's been around for a while. She's organizing from the inside out. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about like organizing your apartment, just to give a metaphor that I think is great, brilliant for business, writing, all of those things. So she has a story where she says, and I've morphed this, it's become a bit of a myth. So if you go to the book,
it's all good. I do the same thing. It's all good.
So say you come in your house and you're just exhausted at the end of your day and you just drop all your stuff on the floor and you can't really do something different, but you hate the mess, right? So the way that most people approach organizing is they go and they go to their closet that's like, down the hall and around the corner, and they set up, how it should be, and it's going to be beautiful. And this is how they wish, they looked and it looked and whatever. And then they're going to train themselves. Like, I'm going to march in the door no matter how tired I am. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to hang up my jacket. I'm going to put these things away, right? And so that works for like a couple days, a week. Like it depends on how excited you can stay about it. But eventually you're going to be too tired, and it's just going to be like, you can't do it this time, and back goes everything on the floor and your mess is there again. And what Julia Cameron says in Organizing from the Inside Out is put a coat rack where you drop your things. Put up a hook, put up a shelf, right? Where you already do it. And then you don't have to change.
Oh.
You become organized because you've put the supports in place so that when you drop your stuff, it lands on a hook and a shelf.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So as a writer, as a business person, finding your coat racks, looking at what you already do, which means going into writing badly, which means asking your real questions, which means making the mistakes you make sooner and faster to become more efficient, not trying to do a runaround around your mistakes, going towards them, but putting those coat racks in place so that what you do becomes effective for where you want to go.
All right, let's talk through a couple examples. Like, give me an example of where you've done this in your writing, where you've seen clients do it before, like, so people can really see how this might work for them.
Okay, so one, I was working with somebody around trying to start a meditation practice, and she said, "Okay, yeah." And this was a few years, but anyway, a number of years ago when I had a kid who was about 5 and who got up at 5:30 in the morning. He wanted me to get up in the morning and meditate. And I said, I can't because I have an active 5-year-old at 5:30 in the morning. So let's come up with something else. And she said, how about get up at 5? And what? So I started getting up at 5 and it became this magic time. And sometimes he would get up and sit in my lap and it became his favorite kind of most peaceful, quiet time. Which, was amazing. And then, so that was a little bit of more like tough love, but although I am a morning person, but then I thought, okay, I want to be writing in the morning. I want to use my kind of dream state to come and go right into writing. And so I tied it to this practice I already had, right? So this is my coat rack, is like that early morning before everybody's awake time, and I'm going to take that time and I'm going to put into it this thing that's the most important to me, because that's when I can get it done instead of trying to get it done, in a different window and everything would be crazy. So, I mean, that might be an example. Okay, carrying a notebook for writers, like these are ones I've come up with for writers, is carrying a notebook. When you sit in your car after school drop off, can you take 15 minutes to write? So finding those places that are already where you already do what you do. And then, and what I often have people do is I'll have them map out, like, how did you decide to move? Or how did you decide to leave your job? Like, you tell the story a lot about how you decide to leave your job. So if I were going to work with you on this, I'd be like, okay, let's go step by step. Like, you talk to people, you went on walks or bike rides and thought about it. You made lists, whatever. And it can even be how you grocery shop. And then take those things that you already do, right? Those are your actions, like dropping your stuff, and figure out how to do those things with the project you want to do, how to bring so if you were going to write a book, Jenny, I would say, okay, we would go through how you decided to leave your job. And then I would have you do those same things with the book. I'd have you go on bike rides and think about the book. I'd have you talk about it with friends. I'd have you I'm making up what you did, but make lists. Those kinds of things, work with coaches, whatever you did worked for you for that, I would have you bring to this.
So it's sort of, I've had a coach put it as like figuring out your process. It's like, once you know how you do change or how you do incorporating something new, like once you figure out how you do things, when you're ready to tackle some new task, do the things like you did the things before.
And make sure they're lined up, right? So if you make lists, then have whatever, and of course now we all have something to make have that with you. If you want to talk with someone, set up a phone call with somebody. So you say, can I talk through this with you? I know people who will talk through a story. Some people need to keep it secret and some people need to talk about it.
Sure.
But whatever your method is, ask people to be that coat rack for you, right? Put that in place. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh, I love it. I love it. So this is fantastic. I'd love to know, we have a little bit of delay with this broadcast, so I'd love to know if folks have questions. So if you could, please Elizabeth will answer anything and everything. So please put those questions in there. But while we wait for folks to put their questions in, what are the kind of questions you usually get from writers, either about what you've talked about today or writing in general? What kind of questions do you get and what kind of answers do you like to give to those questions?
I mean, a lot of people are, of course, thinking about publishing, and it's not, and part of that is we write for an audience, and especially folks who you're working with who are writing blogs and writing newsletters. you're writing for an audience. So how do you reach that audience? And I think there's a lot to know about the publishing industry, and I think it's really smart to know about it, to understand it, and then also to a lot of the things that we know, like being in genuine conversation with people and letting that kind of feed your material. People really want to, I mentioned like being efficient. People who've gone through a writing process and feel like, oh, this is long and exhausting.
Yeah.
How can I make this more efficient? Prize-winning novelists are like, oh yeah, I want to do that, but I want to do it faster.
Yeah, right. We all want everything faster, right? Stuff just takes time.
Well, I think that's the piece where you have to go towards your own mistakes.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. You can't do it a different way. And especially creative, innovative, entrepreneurial people are more apt to be like, I'm going to become a different person.
Yeah.
Like and that's the biggest thing. People are like, if they're a morning person, they're like, I'm going to try staying up at night. If they're, whatever it is, there's this kind of excitement to creating something new, including ourselves. But if instead you can say, here's who I am, and I'm going to do this as me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's so important, and that's so true. I believe that to be true for business as well. Just to give a couple examples, like clients will say, well, I think, the market for XYZ is a little bit bigger than the market I've been targeting for ABC. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not XYZ, you're ABC. Like, go for what is true for you and excited to do. Like, we're not building some generic business. We're building this purposeful, heart-centered business. And the same with writing. You're not just writing like a textbook. You're writing something that springs from your heart and soul. So we've got to honor ourselves and who we are and the processes that we go through in order to put that work out into the world, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. People ask about kind of writing to the market or, second guessing the market. And of course you can't, because especially writing, it takes so long for a book to come out. The market's like way back there, but inside each of us, we are the market. We're the teeming, unruly questions that everybody wants to know. Right. So that's the market you can write to.
All right, awesome. I'm pulling up questions. So Michelle asks, you're not going to become a different person. How can you be you and share your work as you? So I think she's reiterating what you had to say. It's maybe not a question, but anything else you want to add to that, like about not becoming a different person, how that trips people up, or how to honor you? How do you honor you?
Right. It's a great question, right? How do you share the work as you? I think it actually contains, as all these questions do, these incredible answers, right? Because you're not only going to write the work as you, but you're going to bring it to the world the way you bring things to the world. Are you a one-on-one, intimate, just conversationalist? Then you're going to have that one person you're talking to, and you can even write to them. I sort of like, I write to like when I write my newsletter, I have a little bit of that. And it's a little bit more of like the group, because like we work in a group in my class, in my camps, but it's like, I really have those people and I'm writing to them. And I know that everybody who's reading them is in some way part of that, because that's me, right? And that's my community. So I love that question. And I think that it is the answer, which is you share as you. If you're somebody who is more comfortable in front of a crowd, stand-up comics who get up there and test the material, right? Then do that. Like, get up there and test the material and like fall on your face and then be like, oh, that didn't work. And, and be out there with it, right? Who are you as a communicator is going to exactly show you how to share your work.
Yeah, I think this is so great because especially, now with so much stuff online about business or writing, I don't read a lot of things about writing, but I would assume it's no different. Everybody has their opinion, like you should build a list of 100,000 people and sell them products priced at $97, all in evergreen funnels so you can sit monetize at the beach. And other people like me say something completely different. And I think, and so what happens to a new person starting a business is they're so confused. Like, wait, how am I? And this is not just in business and it's not just in writing, but it's in health. It's really important to eat like a low carb diet. It's really important that you have whole grains in your diet. Like what am I supposed to do? And really like figuring out, what's right for me? Like what way of eating is right for my body? What kind of business do I want to build for my life? What kind of writing rituals and style of writing do I want to create? Because that's what springs from my soul. And really like, yeah, there's all this useful information, but only using the pieces that are relevant to that connection within yourself. Yeah.
Well, exactly. As a parent for myself, I will say that I had an idea. I watched my sister parent and I thought, I'm going to do this, but not that. And I'm going to be like this, and everything I admired, I was like, that's how I'm going to be. And everything I didn't like, I was like, I'm not going to do that. And then, lo and behold, I'm me, and I can't parent as the ideal parent I would love or imagined having. I have to parent as me. And I think we have to do all these things as us, but we're also really amazing. And I think, we're in this moment where people are being so courageous about their trauma and their vulnerability. But I'm finding that my creative clients, many of whom are socialized female, have a really harder time coming forward with what we're good at and what our strengths are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Somebody who works for me and runs her own business the other day, she asked me for a testimonial for the work that she did because she was amazing. And I wrote back and I said, I actually want you to write the testimonial you wish that I would give you. And we ended up doing a couple back and forth, and of me trying to help her like own it. Like men watching, and there's nothing against you, and this is not a male bashing comment, but generally in men, studies show that men are more confident talking about their skills, or even over talking about their skills, and women way underplay their own skills in the process. So but we gotta own that. We gotta be true to us. We also gotta own like we're like freaking amazing.
I think everybody watching should write their own testimonial from their like fantasy, writer of the testimonial, right? And how great that you are, and just own it.
Yeah.
How much time, people?
Right. So Charlotte has a question. I'd be curious what your take is, and I'm happy to add in my 2 cents as well. How do you think about how much to give away of what you do? Like, so she's saying like her model, I'm guessing her model of coaching in her blog. How much does she resist? How much do you suggest giving away? Because sometimes she resists giving the extra tidbit, but she always feels, there's a fruit fly, always feels better when she does. She's got a second question, but we'll start there. So how do you think about how much to give away with your free content? Because you also run a business.
Right. I mean, I'm going to set aside the sort of writers not getting paid very much in this moment in the world.
Fair point. Fair enough.
As a teacher and as a business owner, what I want to say about the kind of the tidbit is that I highly recommend giving away that last tidbit, giving everything in like a post or something. Because the truth is, I've had students who've worked with me for years, who are publishing their first books and having incredible success. And I'll say something that I've said week in and week out, and they'll suddenly go like, oh, right? Or that time it'll hit them for what they need right then. So those tidbits don't actually lose value. Once you've given them away, you can still sell them because people still need them.
Yeah, that's great. That is so true. So I would just say for Charlotte, for your question in terms of how much you give away, like a couple things to keep in mind is you can inundate people with too much information in a blog post. You can't I can't help somebody build a successful business that creates consistent income in a single blog post. It takes 3 months of intense content and coaching in order for us to get them on the track to do that. So first of all, know that you can't give it all, especially in your free content. The other thing is this is why I'm such a fan of sort of the intimate one-on-one work or that I teach, but then also sort of the high touch nature of what we do. So much of what you can share is more than knowledge. And this is so true when it comes to private coaching or private services. You could teach everybody everything they needed to know, including every bucket to click on their bookkeeping software. But that's very different from you actually doing their bookkeeping for them. I can teach you everything we need to know about creating a great offer, but that's very different from us. You pay me to help you figure out what the perfect offer is for you. So taking things, you can give information, but the real value then becomes in that service you provide, that extra connection. So I don't ever hesitate to give stuff away. There's maybe a couple things I hold back because I think taken out of context or without the right support, people don't know what to do with them and they don't really see the value in that. But don't ever hold back. People feel it when you hold back your best stuff. But also know you can't solve everything in one blog post. So that was a little bit of a mix there.
And we need people who hold the space for us. So, we need people, we do writing prompts and generative writing in my classes and also at Sonoma County Writers Camp. But Ellen and I also, we do cafe writing together. We're like, she's a, multiply published best-selling author. We use that to like sit down and get some work done.
Yeah.
we need each other.
Yes, perfect. Her follow-on question is, how about writing research-based material? I coach about making things experiential, how to aim for balance of science and personal. Is that really my aim? I'm not sure if you follow the question, but that's what we got. Does it make sense?
Well, I think how I would maybe rephrase it, because I get this a lot, is in nonfiction that is not necessarily story-based, how much do you bring in story and personal experience? And I think that you bring it in as much as you possibly can, that story is what hooks people, that we want to know about people's lives and people's experience. And even if you're explaining something scientific, that's what people are going to connect to.
That's great. Yeah. If your aim is to connect with your reader, then even if it's research-based or science, there has to be something personal. But then again, going back to your earlier point, how you do that is all about you and how you want to make, what kind of connection you want to make and who you are. Yeah,
exactly. And you might draw a scene of, create a scene of some people interacting about it, or it might be your voice, because your voice creates a sense of hearing someone talk and being in the room with someone chatting. So there are, yes, many different ways to bring those tools of narrative writing into any kind of writing.
Perfect. Lori says, I don't read half of what people send in newsletters and blogs because I find them boring. Any tips about what makes an interesting newsletter compared to a boring one?
Yes. I mean, that's such a great question. And I think, I would say, list what makes it boring. List when does it get your attention? Like make a note, draw a mind map, but what does get your attention? Because it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. And that's why you know who your people are, right? So some people are going to want like a hilarious joke to start it off, and someone else wants something that's going to like grip them and move them and be inspirational. But everybody wants you to be alive on your own edge, talking about the things that matter the most to you, that are the things that are life-changing for you and for the people that you're working with. And so I think, if you're willing to go there and really share those things, I think that's what's going to make the difference.
Yeah, that's great. We actually keep like files. Like when I get an email from somebody, I don't subscribe to a lot of things, but the few I subscribe to, when I get a subject line or a hook or something in it, I'm like, ooh, that's good. We save it. And like when I get stuck later or not sure what to do, I go back and I look through all those emails and be like, oh, what was it that captured my attention? Do I still feel that's interesting? How can I use that style or something similar for myself? And we do it with Facebook ads and posts. We just pay attention to what other people are doing and what captures what makes me look up a little bit, and we save it for later. So
yeah. I have a podcast called Storymakers Show, and we do a segment called Steal This. So the poet T.S. Eliot said, amateur poets borrow, professional poets steal.
Perfect.
And I think this is, you take it and make it your own. And that's how I teach too. We look at the content, like really fabulous content, but everyone's always bringing their own content and their own questions to it. But here's a technique you can take and make your own. Here's an approach.
Love it.
Here's some language. Yeah.
Excellent. I think that is it for the questions that have come through. I think this is amazing what you have covered, and so much, like you said at the beginning, that this is applicable to writing, but really all of lessons are applicable to business or whatever creative pursuit we're trying to do. You just it's about getting over ourselves.
Yeah. And putting ourselves out there at the same time.
Doing it. So I know it's linked above for those of you watching. Elizabeth is teaching another free class on writing. So if you want more writing tips from Elizabeth.
With Ellen.
Yeah, she'll be teaching a class with Ellen Sussman, and the link is above. And so you can do that. Anything you want to say about that class so people know what to expect to go click on over?
Yeah, we do sneak peeks into our upcoming camps. And so we have one coming up in August that is about looking at different genres and how to draw on all of them, how to beg, borrow, and steal from different genres. And then we have another one in October about scene. So the free class gives a sneak peek into that. We always do generative writing exercises. So
awesome.
You come and actually try to write.
Excellent. So if people want to get some actual writing practice down, you're going to be there doing that with them.
Okay. The hands on the keys.
Fantastic. And also above, I've linked, I think it's above. Anyway, I've listed Elizabeth's podcast for those of you who want to learn more tips from her and listen to what she's got going on. There's you've got a wealth of episodes there with pretty great genius tips. So, and you can steal, and she'll teach you how to steal other people's writing legally. Awesome. I think that's it. Let me just double check and make sure those, oops, I left the page. Like all the questions. Yeah, I think that covers it. Well, thank you so much. Elizabeth, thank you for coming on and sharing your writing tips. And I've learned a few things. I've got a couple notes written down, and I know folks have as well. It's always great to hear, it's always great to hear similar advice, totally different fields, like I teach about business and you teach about writing, but there's so much overlap. And to realize, like I can actually take some of these ideas back and forth, I think gives people a lot of confidence. Like you know what to do, people. Right?
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Jenny. It's so fun to talk to you.
You're welcome. So good. Thanks everybody for being here, and have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Catch you later. Bye. All right.